Metaphysical Endnote 5. You are being watched. Over. You may be wondering why I shared the previous story with you. Several reasons. This event demonstrated how energy can work on many levels. Did we manifest the meal, the man, and the moolah? When we want something very badly, many of us use our minds unconsciously, achieving the results we want without even knowing what we are doing. So wouldn't it be beneficial to you to understand how you manifested what you wanted, so that in the future you can employ those tools at will, apply them when and as you need them? More details in Chapter 2, Leap of Faith. While lying in our lumpy hostel beds at night, we had been visualizing our desires in great detail. The image of that food became so clear we were salivating. This intensity of desire is often required to bring us what we want. Although this process feels magical, manifestation works according to the universal laws of physics. So is this why we were treated to this wonderful meal even before we got home? Maybe. Or was it fate that put this man in our path? Was there a written soul agreement before we came to this life that Mr. and Mrs. Weiss would show up just when we really needed them? Maybe. Or was it karma? Erica, Hillary, and I were withdrawing from our karmic bank account when we really needed to. If so, it was nice to know we had some karmic credit. But it could also have been our complementary energies that attracted us to each other. We needed to be fed and watered, and they needed... Maybe we didn't need to know what their needs were. We just needed to be there. There is also the possibility that I had unknowingly employed a technique which I often suggest to my clients. Ask the universe for what you want, envision it, know that it is yours, and then let it go. Ask yourself, what is the worst thing can happen if what you desire doesn't show up? Then face that possibility. In my case, this was 2 days without food, not pleasant for a Taurus. Truly accepting the worst outcome eliminates the fear factor, which, if allowed to fester, will only negate the manifestation. If you can't handle the worst scenario, change your plan. And if you can accept the worst as a possible outcome, then hope for the best and move forward. It is the acceptance of what is and the subsequent letting go of fear that I believe allows the magic to happen, because you are not imposing any negative restraints on creation. My grandmother used to marvel at how I could fall into mud but always come up smelling roses. I may have had angels working overtime, or I just implicitly believed that somehow it would always work out. It had to, and so it did. In Zurich, I felt the universe rewarded us for our faith, not just with the meal that we had all dreamed of, but the added bonus of 2 more weeks of adventure. Often when we do something for ourselves, especially if it involves overcoming a fear, the universe will let us know we did the right thing by awarding an extra prize. Giving to the self is not an act of selfishness, unless of course it's actually physically harming others. My conclusion about this miracle was that a higher power was at work. We all have spirit guides, guardian angels, fairies, or hobgoblins watching over us. They don't materialize or flutter down in front of us, their golden wings wafting magnificently, nor do we hear celestial music when they are about to do their work. Well, okay, it can happen. Mostly, these higher entities make it look like a coincidence or luck. You think of someone, they show up. You need a lawnmower, it just so happens your neighbor wants to give away his old one. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous, and the angels regularly work through us mere mortals, using us as the channels or mouthpieces for that higher knowing. It's not necessarily just those of us who appear angelic or even clean. I once received a significant message from a bedraggled street person outside a liquor store. I knew from the way he peered deep into my soul that the wise words coming out of his mouth weren't coming from him but through him. Out of the mouths of babes have also come pearls of wisdom that I knew were intended as guidance. On that occasion in Zurich, the angels chose this married couple, who in some way mirrored my parents, to take care of us, feed us, and with a little money in our pockets, send us on our way. So it was not for me to judge whether Mr. Weiss was really a legitimate international businessman or something less savory. As far as I was concerned, our angels were watching over us. And who knows, in some small way, maybe my friends and I brought a little light into their lives too. End of chapter 5.